Hello friends, welcome to Third Year. Myself Mohammad Faizan. I'm going to engage 20th century paper. Right, welcome you all for third year. And due to this pandemic situations, we have maintaining distance. Right, it's like a social distance. We are connecting with the social media. Right. Uh, okay. We have cross 4 semesters in literature, right? Here we have fifth semester and new syllabus, new papers, right? And different papers we'll see, right? Here you have different papers and six papers. One paper 20th century literature, which I'm going to engage to you guys, right? Before entering that paper, right, I will discuss something with you, right? Literature, right? In 4 semester we learn different papers. Literature is a different thing, right? As we just collected in poetry, prose, notes, just copy it down and omit an examination and get marks, right? Okay, here in literature, see, literature it's an art, right? Literature is an art. We have to understand literature that through the work of a writer, right? Say a different dimension, right? A different dimensions are literature, right? So it's like what we can say diamond, right? It's just a shape, right? Literature also like shape, right? The same letters, just 26 letters, right? In alphabets, 26 letters only, but it has a different things, right? And so many things in literature you may come across, and a literary form paper, that is the backbone of literature, right? Backbone of literature is literary form book, which is held in the first year, I think, right? Second semester of a semester we have studied, and how many literatures are there in styles, different, so many things, right? It's very important book. We have to follow, we have to keep the book with us to know literature, right? Okay, let's see, we'll begin literature with 20th century literature, a small glimpse, right? A few glimpses of 20th century literature. Let's see, in 20th century literature where begins in the year of 1901, when the Queen Victoria was dead, right? After that, the started the 20th century literature. In 20th century literature, see, literature is same, right? Every year, 20th century, 19th century, 18th century, let's it's begin, right? It's begin. Literature started in 13th century, right? Okay, here in 13th century from Chaucer literatures were begin. Here we shall see in 20th century literature what are the things, what are the areas were covered in 20th century literature, right? In 20th century literature there were two wars were over, right? In two wars, world wars, right? Okay, and World War One and World War Two, and between so many things we'll discuss here. In 20th century, modernism, postmodernism, Commonwealth literature, world literature, new experiment and techniques, and World War literature. These things were in the things where is held in 20th century literature. In this modernism, those are new ideas, right? Modern writers regarding the 20th century, how the writers were shown their thought and ideas, right? The writing is nothing, the ideas, thoughts which is in the mind of writer, poet, novelist. The name is given and the different types, okay? In modernism, the writers were using new ideas, new techniques in writing, right? And also the thing is, the modernism, postmodernism, there are two things. In postmodernism, after the modernism, the World War II, after the World War II, the postmodernism came, right? Here, mostly naturals, everything were collapsed, and people are diverted. Everywhere there is what we say. Everywhere there is something. It's socially, it was aware of war, right? And because of the war, the people are sharing, right? The people are in the amalgamate to live, right? They have confusions, they have so many things in this century, right? Here a few writers after World War One, the writers which in modernism, Thomas Hardy, Henry Jones, Joseph Conrad, W. E. Yeats, T.S. Eliot, D.H. Lawrence, Robert Frost, Virginia Woolf. Their writers were in before the modernism. They may come from 19th century, right? In few writers, the Thomas Hardy also came from 19th century, right? During the life of Queen Victoria, right? The writers were they write something, but they enter in 19th century. The publication of their writers are in 20th century. After that, when Victoria died. In modernism, there are the modern writers who use techniques of modern world, right? Here. And then the next one, postmodernism. In postmodernism, W.H. Auden, Jones Heller, Samuel Beckett, George Orwell, Dylan Thomas, William Golding, everyone are in after the postmodern. In postmodern, you can see the different people mindsets are changed. People mindsets are changed. The sense where collapsed by the war, because it were held. Postmodernism came after the World War II. In World War II, a few developments also came. The radio, right? Here, Samuel Beckett write a few novels for radio, right? And those days the only audio, no visual technologies, only audio, right? He write some dramas, some things for radios, right? And George Orwell, the writers are in a different way. They write some novels. Every writers in 20th century, especially the 20th century, is a main things, because the two world wars in 19th century, end of the 19th century and beginning of 20th century, the wars were held, right? And the people of 20th century writers mind have a different ideas. In postmodernism, several changes came, new technique, new experiment came, right? New things in writing, their writing styles have changed, right? Thoughts, because we can say, if we come across some thing, then only we are learning new things, right? The experience, right? Experience teaches so many things. Like this, the war, the effect of war, the impact were in the work of these writers. The war impact, we can, if we read these writers novels, essays, we can come across the impact of Second World War, how the World War were held, and what are the things in World War. Okay, the Commonwealth literature also came, world literature, everything merged in 20th century. 20th century is a vast area. We shall see one by one. Okay, our first unit is poem, right? In 20th century literature, right, number of poems have written, right? Number of poet. In poetry, every works there is a different name of writers, right? Novelist, poet, right? In poetry writing, we can say poet, right? Before going to see poem, right? Poem, it's not a correct word. Po, the word po, right? Po, and this is singular. What is plural? Singular is poem, plural is poetry, right? Poetry. Okay. The writers may call poem, right? Poet. Poet. See here in poem, right? In poem, what are the things out there? Say verses and poetry. What is verses and poetry? I said before, the only 26 letters we have in English, but in 26 letters we have a different sessions and the ocean of literature within 26 letter only, right? The area, the plot is different, the session is different, authors is different, poets are different, but the language is same. In literature, 20th century literature, the poems have written about some war poem, right? Because two different wars in between the 19th and 20th century, two wars in modernism and postmodernism after the World War II, right? Number of poets may have come across this war. The impact of war may have seen in poem. Okay, see here in poetry, I said before, the verses body. Poetry is soul. Verses is body of poem. Poetry is the soul of the word, voice and noise. Right? What is voice? What is noise? See, the voice, the singer must know the voice. The singer's words, right? That's we can say we enjoy the music, we enjoy the sound, its voice, right? What we speak, right? When between two, I clearly understand that one person stands behind us teaching something, there is only voice, right? If the noise is different. A group of people are discussing, but no one can understand the thing, right? That is what's pleasant. We can say pleasant sound, unpleasant sound, right? Pleasant sound. This is unpleasant, right? Unpleasant sound. Here in poetry, we have a different things. Here, rhythm, rhyme, stanza, music, and verbal music, right? These 5 things, that's the basic things for poetry, right? In poem, every poem, see the rhyme, rhythm, stanza music, and verbal music. These are all the things which is the base for poem. Here, in poem, rhythm, there are 2 different things. That is regular sound and irregular sound. Regular sound. Here in rhythm, there is a sound between the poem verses. The sound between the verses, it's a regular and irregular sound, which is needs in rhyme, then a rhythm, then next rhyme. Rhyme, the last letters of, there are the last letter of arrangement, right? The last sound, the every sentences, right? Like octave, sextus, the letters end, right? In sonnets, octave and sextus, first 6 lines and last 8 lines. Like that, the lines ends with the sound, the same sound, 1 to 3rd and 2nd to 4th, like this. The arrangement, the setup of sound in rhyme, right? And another one, when the sound, the word starts with consonant sound and ends with vowel sound, it's called rhyme, right? Like a keep, peep, right? Like these words may have the things that is called rhyme. Stanza. Stanza is one of the most important thing in poetry. See, in prose we can say paragraph, right? Paragraph. Like this in novel there's stage, like this there's different parts. And stanza is one of the most thing, because in stanza there is 6 letters, 6 lines stanza, 8 lines stanza, 4 lines stanza. Like where's the different stanzas in different poem, right? In a sonnet we can say 8 lines, 14 lines sonnet. That's first 6 lines, second 8 lines, like that we can divide. In stanza there is the word which have different letters, the same letters, the ends, the 1 to 3rd, 2nd to 4th, and the 5th and 6th. That is a scheme of stanzas, right? Music. Music, it's the sweet sounding of word. Sweet sounding of words is called music, right? The poets arrange the words in such a way that the words become the music, right? The words, the lines, if we sing the lines, the sound become music. That is word music. That is the same thing in music, is one of the most important thing in poetry.